Just answering questions with waptek, assertions, etc. Complete local tower data is somewhere for the day the Delphi murders happened. Why would a money-making company operate equipment without knowing exactly what they have? If they do, they're fools. Okay. The data is done two methods. One of them is the metadata and data storage capability done that's dumped from all the towers. Another part is a lot like the IP address when you connect to YouTube. There's this chain of connections. Another one can be the tower data of the GPS location. The phone has to switch from one cell to another, and that narrows it down. It also feeds back the information where it's located for quality of service data. And yeah, that information is absolutely something that should be able to get a hold of. For Abigail Williams and Liberty German, this information should have already been gotten available. And I'm pretty sure it did. The point is, there are two reasons you don't get told something by the police. I actually addressed it. One, flaming incompetence, they might have screwed up something, yada yada. Worst case scenario, they're hiding something. Okay, that's what a lot of people jump to, but let's not do that for a second. Let's talk about something a little bit more reasonable. Police and other officials don't like admitting they don't know what they've got, they don't know how to do something, or they're incompetent, yes. But the other thing is, they may be not telling us anything, and I'm not saying this in a good way, because it will tease out information out of the public without having it biased. If they get a false lead, it's more a waste of time than getting no lead at all. It's been X number of years and there are no real leads coming in. Once they get down below a specific cutoff point based on how much interest they had over a period averaged out, or the mean or maximum or average or whatever, root mean square or whatever, over a 1 year period of time, once they get below a certain point, then they're going to have to do a completely different strategy. And that may be the deal. You're very good at talking. I have no idea what you're talking about, but you're good at rambling. Are you on drugs? You have way too much energy. If you are on drugs, man, no respect. If you're not on drugs, my apologies. You seem really wound up. By the time I get done doing a video, sometimes it seems that way, doesn't it? Here's the problem. It's insanely cold outside that day, and I'm trying not to shiver or shake. Part of it. The other thing is, I can't do most medications or drugs. It doesn't work. Next, I don't get wound up. I'm trying to get through something, and it may have been the 15th take. It was the 3rd. And the more time I spend trying to do something, the more of a pain in the ass it is. Now, a couple of people have told me that the two individuals that died that day were found at a specific location or another one. I found literally more people, more sources pointing to the location that is in the title of the videos, the specific location in them. One was a suspicious scar at I think it was 5690 is the one I found that they're located at, the bodies, and 5812 is the location where the car was. But the thing is, the people who know the absolute answers did not give the answers. Now, somebody gave me a set of links to some videos, and I'll go ahead and look at them. But the problem is, this is some basic stuff that should be given out immediately. There was a video showing the police department talking about and showing a map of where they found something. And this is the funny part about it. Well, it's parked right there, according to one source, across on the, let's say, the right side of the road, and right at a building that was named something something before. They're on the opposite side of the roads. So that's why I'm like, I'm going to wait until I find it. And then I found them, and it still didn't have the police officer simply saying address, physical location, pointing to it. But they showed a map, and I'm just going to take it the way it is. The fact that the building that is mentioned is in the wrong location according to one map but not another, I'm considering that par for course for that area. Next. Someone said, basically a couple of people said, would you like to do live streams? I cannot do live streams at this time because most of my channels, including this one, either are banned from doing it or are hobbled in some way, and I've given up. I used to do live streams every weekend with a friend. I can now do it if I load a different web browser, and that's great, but I'm not going to do any of them. And a couple of people in the comment section were saying, oh, don't do a live stream with him, do it with me. You're not going to like my opinion because it's an opinion based on what facts were given. And that may actually match up with the mainstream media on most of it. In this case, it isn't. It's just literally, once you get beyond a certain point, if you're asking for help and you haven't gone any further and it's been X number of years, you've failed. All right. If I told everybody I need help to locate somebody who's this picture and nobody showed up for weeks, months to tell me anything, I'd be like, okay, I can't find anything more. This is all of our data. It's really scrambled, and just let 4chan and Reddit try to fix it. I'm sorry, but they're really a good resource when they're not going around trying to be politicizing things. This is one of those things that the reason everybody can get behind this is a little bit like Vegas. People don't want negative things happening to themselves or their family or loved ones or relatives or neighbors. We don't want that. And helping each other make it to where this kind of thing can't happen is in everybody's best interest. Motivated self-interest overwhelmingly beats or trumps politics. And no, I don't like Trump. Whoop-de-doo. Doesn't matter. It's not part of the subject matter. My first observation is that the bridge guy spit while he was walking. They could have easily got his DNA from that day after the murders by picking up that material, I'm going to say. He also can't Google Maps find the cars and people by satellites. They're not satellites. These are photos taken on specific dates and times, including, by the way, the map resources I gave in another video, on a specific date with airplanes. The satellites do not have this ability because they're simply not able to. In fact, it's just easier to turn loose a bunch of Cessnas and stripe photo the entire area. Next part. All the cops did was crop it, the image. If you had the original file, you would crop it too, but not one pixel would likely be gained of his face. I know that, it's not that, it's the raw data file. The video itself could contain data that could be completely and utterly important, but we don't know. Next one. Both of them likely appear in the video. The crops have every right and even a duty to protect the victims and their families from undue exposure of unnecessary information. I'm not talking about getting a snuff film. I'm talking about the video content before and after the video, the audio and the video it syncs to, the condition of it, timing data, and more importantly, the raw data, unless it's extremely sensitive, by decision of the family, should be released. They should be able to decide, no, it's okay. If it'll help everybody find the murderer of our kids, we're good with it. Has anybody asked them that? I don't know. Because every time I look it up, I find opinions and speculation and a couple of channels literally trying to get somebody in jail for something they didn't do. So let's go on. And also, again, I have to point this out. The guy on the bridge may have not been actually guilty. He may have not been the person that is actually guilty. They may be making an assumption. And again, I have to point out something about DNA. No. Unless you know the exact location and get it really quickly, DNA gets damaged in biological environments like that, bacteria, very rapidly. And that would have to go with every animal and every plant in the area having DNA break down and mix into it. It's a contaminated scene. Sorry. Also, hundreds of people could have gone over that thing in the last week, which would add in extra data. Sorry. Next. I'm also at a loss as to how knowing precise global coordinates of particular events could help find the killer. If you're not aware of this, the cell phone itself and the video data itself and the cell tower data itself may show discrepancies on fringe areas. Or it may show a crossing point where it goes over to the other GPS location. That fine information data, that fine-grained data is extremely important. Also in the cell phone is accelerometer data. How fast were they moving? It may have recorded stuff afterwards. For all we know, one of the girls could have hit a button that told it to record the movements that they were doing, sort of like a video game. Oh, I don't know. Heck, that's the thing. So we don't have this information. But the video data is actually very important because of something really simple. Not editing it at all. The entire file could have data in it that's accidentally in there. Cell phones do that all the time. If anybody's curious, there's an audio recording, video and audio recording, that's supposed to be of a UFO. But the original RAW file had an audio track that was erased by the people who claimed they were uploading the RAW file. And in it, you can hear edit marks. Yeah, you can hear that it was recorded and that there was data noise from analog wiring, which means they used an analog deck to edit it. If you're not aware of what that means it's a fucking fake UFO video. You can hear the edit marks at exact points. They match. So I uploaded the video with that. Nobody cares, but I mean, that's the kind of data you can find. You can dig it out. Some of it's just noise. It should be ignored. But some of it's different levels of noise, or shiftings, or phase shifts. I can understand your frustrations of the crime being unsolved. Someone needs to definitively ID this guy. Yes, I agree. But again, here's what we know. 2 young people died. We can't even get a straight answer out of everybody at the same time saying where they were found. We can't even get the exact time except noon the next day is about what is said, and it's an approximation. We don't have the GPS data or any of the other data in raw mode so that we can independently check it. And no, I wouldn't crop the data. The whole point is everything around him. It would tell me the time of day for the angle of the shadows, whether it was windy, whether there was any movement, even if it's 1 pixel in the background. I'm the guy who, if you're not aware of this, watching my channel for the first time, somebody put up a UFO video on Facebook because they didn't know exactly what had happened. They gave an approximate location, but they weren't really sure. So I sat there at Google Street View and walked the entire area. And it's one of those parts of Kansas where there's nothing at all that could be that object, except in a 5-mile stretch of road, 1 telephone pole. And that 1 telephone pole had an insulator or some other object on it that when you move it at high speed, makes what looks exactly like the UFO. It lined up perfectly. The Google Street View found it perfectly. In fact, I've actually thought of redoing the video because it was on one of my previous channels. I will dig data out. There's only 2 screen grabs from there, but there's lots of videos before and after this. And if you dig through Google Earth and also Flash Earth or Zoom Earth, you're able to see the area from the sky and see the way the trees lay. That's why I know that they weren't found in that spot that's indicated by the taped off area. If you look at the photo taken less than a month later, maybe 2 months, you can look down from the sky and see that there is no downed little trees. There's 3 of them in a row and then 2 in the front. They're not there. There's 1 leaning. It's not there. It's on the other guy's property. It's at that intersection location. I'm dead sure of it. Or it was taken from a different location because the other photo couldn't possibly work from any of those vantage points, which means it was a falsified photo someone uploaded. Or not. They have to give, just like I require from the video, the exact GPS location. Where were you standing? Well, I don't know. Well, then we can't do any coordination and confirm it. And also, the bridge is going the wrong angle, so he was on the opposite side of the bridge from where this happened. He was downriver from the bridge. That's the way the angle looks. That one other photo, it's another photo on a website. It's not real, unless the person flipped it left or right, which is possible. But they didn't say so. And that's an omission that's significant. Where were you standing? The specific quote on one website is, the person refused to tell me where he was or where he got the image from. That means it's worthless. And again, the other images from their Snapchat or whatever, that day, what about other data? What about Facebook data? What about wandering data? Facebook keeps track of your GPS if it can get away with it. I had to turn it off on mine. They may have data. I'm sure it's already been retrieved, but we should have that. If no other reason, to determine how long the phone was on afterwards. And why didn't the person discover the phone and break it to get rid of the recording? Because the recording probably wasn't uploaded, or was it uploaded? That's another question I have. When you're left with a bunch of questions that are trivial to answer quickly, they're either holding it back because they want to see if somebody will accidentally spill the beans and get them because they just don't know. Or maybe they're holding back the data because they don't have it either. Maybe the phone got smashed. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for all your comments and concerns, and apparently I got shared on Facebook. And thanks for the advice and questions. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, and good luck with all of that. Bye.